Thank you for joining us on Lady Red Crafting. Today we're going to do some farmhouse designs. Craft number 1. For this craft I grabbed some wood letters from Walmart. We're going to go ahead and remove all the staples and the stickers on the back sides of these. An easy way to remove the stickers would be to use your heat tool or a hairdryer and you warm up the stickers. You should then be able to just peel the stickers right off. The next step is grab a paintable surface and spread out your letters. Once the letters have been spread out, I would grab some Waverly white chalk paint and I'm going to paint the front of the letter and around the sides of the letter. So while we're painting the letters, what 3 letters would you put on the wall in your house? I went to Walmart to look for some letters, and originally I was going to pick the word eat, but they did not have an A. So I was trying to find another 3-letter word because I really wanted to do this craft, and I chose the word fun. But if you have other suggestions on other 3-letter words you would use for your wall, let me know. I'd love to hear. Thank you. So now that we're done painting the letters, we're going to set these aside to dry. Let's go ahead and start building the rest of this project. For this step, I used 3 of the smaller 5x7 burlap canvases. I'm arranging these canvases in the shape of a mountain, and I'm taping them together with some blue painter's tape. Using my staple gun, I go ahead and I staple these canvases together. Once the canvases are secure, I go ahead and remove the painter's tape. So we'll go ahead and set that aside and we'll get back to making these letters. I found this really cute bee napkin on Amazon and I decided I wanted to use these on the letters and decoupage them on. So I'm using my Mod Podge in matte and I'm going to go ahead and just paint a thin coat on the letters. I would recommend painting 2 coats on the letters. I didn't for this craft and I wish I would have done that. So if I were to do this craft again, I'd paint a thin coat of Mod Podge, let it dry, and then paint a second coat of Mod Podge. So we're going to repeat this step for all 3 of these letters. We're going to set these aside to dry. Once these letters have finished drying, I go ahead and I take my napkin. I'm going to lay that over the top of these letters. And I don't know if you saw me do this earlier, but I did remove the bottom layer on the napkin, so it's just that top layer. And what you can see that I did here is I made sure to position the bee, because there's only the 1 bee per quadrant on this napkin, in a spot on the letter so we could see it. To adhere the napkin to the letter, what I use is a hot iron. And I take a piece of parchment paper and I place that over the top of the napkin and I iron the napkin onto the letter. The glue underneath that has dried will warm up and everything will stick together. So now that the napkin is attached to the letter, we're going to go ahead and remove the excess napkin by just cutting that off. Then I will grab my zip sander and I'm going to go ahead and sand in a downward motion to get the remainder of the napkin removed from this letter. And it does a really good job on the outside pieces. For those inner pieces, I did use a razor blade to remove any extra napkin. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm using some Mod Podge and I'm just going to seal everything in. We're going to then repeat this step for all 3 letters. So now we're going to go ahead and use the iron with the parchment paper and just run that over the U. And now we'll go ahead and sand any of the excess napkin off of this U. And then we're going to repeat this again for the N. And if you're enjoying this video, please hit that subscribe button down below. I really appreciate all the support. Thank you. So the next step in our journey is we're going to go ahead and make some of the embellishments. For this embellishment, I'm going to make a ribbon bow, and I take a piece of ribbon and I just make a quick loop and glue that together with some hot glue. I then cut another strand of ribbon off and make a V shape. And I'm going to go ahead and attach those two items, and I'm going to scrunch them in the center and use a pipe cleaner to go ahead and twist that into place. We'll cut off any of the excess pipe cleaner, and then we'll go ahead and cut another small piece of the ribbon that matches. I fold that in half, and I'm going to hot glue that around the center of the bow. Once I get all of those items into place, we're going to go ahead and just cut the ends of the bow to whichever way you would like. If you want them in diagonal or dovetailed, whatever works best for you. Now that our bow is complete, we'll go ahead and set that aside. Here comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and put together the sign. I grab my letters and some wood glue. This wood glue is the one from the Dollar Tree, and it works just fine. I go ahead and put a few dots of glue on the letter, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue in between everything to help everything stay into place. I then go ahead and attach the letters to the canvases. And we're going to go ahead and add all 3 letters. Once we've added the letters, we're going to add a few other items just to make this a little bit cuter. So I found these burlap flowers at the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love them. This is my last flower that I have in the pack. It was a 3-pack of them, but we're going to use one on this craft. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that on. Next, we'll go ahead and hot glue the bow we made a few minutes ago and the cute little bee that I found at Dollar Tree. And now we have a beautiful, fun sign. So this month, I'm joining a fun group of ladies for a farmhouse playlist. I want to say a quick thank you to Chantel at Crafty Hints, Brenda at Rustic Lace and DIYs, Amanda at 6 Kids and a Glue Gun for inviting me to participate. Thank you, ladies. On to craft number 2. For this craft, we're going to start out with a wine cork. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the wine cork about 1/4 inch thick. Now I'm going to grab some faux leather from the Dollar Tree, and I have some scraps that I had from a previous craft left over, so I'm going to use those scrap pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of cardboard and cut out a small petal, and then we're going to trace on the back side of the faux leather all of these petals. For this craft, we're going to need 18 petals. Once all of the petals have been traced, we can go ahead and cut these out. Now that all the petals are cut, we're going to grab some toothpicks. That's right, toothpicks, and we're going to trim 1/4 inch off of each toothpick. We want one side flat and the other side with the pokey side still. And for this craft, you're going to need 9 of these toothpicks. So let's grab our handy dandy hot glue gun, and on the back side of one of these petals, we're going to draw a straight line, and we're going to add the toothpick to that hot glue. And you want the pokey side sticking out. It's going to look almost like a fan. And then for the next step, we're going to add some hot glue over the top of that toothpick, and we're going to sandwich over the top a second petal. You want the nice side of the faux leather showing on the outsides of these petals. Now let's repeat that step again. We're going to grab a petal, we're going to add some hot glue, and we're going to sandwich in a toothpick. So you're going to see me add some hot glue, we'll add the toothpick, and then we'll add another petal over the top. Now just keep repeating the step till all of your flower petals are made. So now we're going to grab that little piece of cork from earlier, and we're going to add the petals into this piece of cork. Just going to repeat this until all 9 petals are secure in the cork. And this craft is really a great craft to do in a group of people. So if you decided to have a craft party, this might be something you'd like to try. So now that our flower is complete, we're going to make the base. I grabbed a 3-pack of clay pots from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to go ahead and paint one of these pots in the color Mineral in Waverly chalk paint. When we're painting this pot, we want to paint the whole perimeter of the pot on the outside. We're also going to go ahead and flip the pot back over, and we're going to paint down about an inch around the inside rim. Once we're done painting this pot, we'll set this aside to dry. After the pot is dried, we'll grab a piece of floral foam and we're going to cut a small square that will fit inside the pot. We're just going to push that straight down inside. Next, we're going to grab a bamboo skewer and add that to our wine cork to make a stem in our flower. To dress up our flower, I'm going to grab some ribbon, and this ribbon I did get at the Dollar Tree. We're just going to tie a basic bow around the bamboo skewer. For this next step, I grabbed these cute garden shears from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use them to trim up my bamboo skewer. We're just going to trim about 3 or 4 inches off the bottom so it fits better inside of our pot. Now let's grab some Spanish moss and our hot glue gun. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of hot glue down at the bottom of our pot, and we're going to add the Spanish moss around the top. Don't worry if you're a little bit messy with the Spanish moss. We're going to grab our scissors and we're going to give a quick trim around the outside of our pot. It's just like a little haircut for that Spanish moss. And that's it. Our happy little flower is ready to be displayed. Craft number 3. For this craft, we're going to use one of the wood slices from the Dollar Tree. Next, I grab a silk screen stencil from Amazon. I really like these stencils. If you haven't used them before, they're self-adhesive and they wash up so that you can reuse them. We're going to just lay that nice and flat over the top of the wood slice. And for this, I wanted to do 2 different colors. So I'm going to start with antique moss, and we're going to squeegee that on the leaves of this stencil. And don't worry, if you like any of these products, I'm going to go ahead and leave links in my description below. Now that we're done with the green paste, we're going to grab our blue boar paste, and we're going to go ahead and squeegee just those little, I want to say that they're blueberries, but they're maybe little flowers, and we're going to just squeegee them blue. We're going to carefully pull our stencil off our wood slice. And we're going to set this aside to dry. While that's drying, I went ahead and created a stencil using my Cricut Joy, and the stencil is going to say Blueberry Patch. So we're not going to use the inside letters, we're just going to use the outside frame. And we'll have to weave some of the little circles out of the letters for like blue and E and patch, and we're going to add those back onto our wood slice. For stenciling Blueberry Patch, I'm going to use black chalk paint. I'm using a small foam brush and I'm just lightly tapping the paint onto the stencil. It's time to remove the stencil. We'll pull off the main piece first, and then we're going to weave out any of those extra little pieces on the wood patch. So once this is done drying, we're going to flip this sign over and we're going to paint on the other side. I'm grabbing my Waverly paint in the color white, and we're just going to do a nice thick coat on the back side of this wood slice. We're going to set that aside to dry. While it's drying, I'm going to grab some rub-on transfers that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I want to use this Farm Fresh flower sign. We're going to put that in the center of this wood slice. I'm also going to add 2 little pieces on either side of this, and I think I'm going to end up doing the flowers and the flower pot. If you haven't used these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, they are great. Once you get your transfer in the position that you want it, go ahead and press it down and then use a popsicle stick, and you're just going to rub over all of those black lines in the transfer until everything adheres to the wood slice. Just going to repeat these steps for the last 2 transfers. Once we've are done doing the rub-on transfers on this slice, I want to go ahead and put a sealer on this, and I'm using Rust-Oleum Matte Clear Finish, and I'm spraying this outside, and I'm going to do 2 coats on both sides of this plaque. This step is optional. I'm doing the sealer on these because I'm going to hang this out in my garden. To hang these in the garden, I'm going to use this hanger that I found at the Dollar Tree. And here it is in the garden, all done. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see my next video, please click on the playlist above. Have a great day.